Good afternoon. It's 1:04 p.m. In the New York area. Welcome to you, and really thank you for joining. This is also a very nice opportunity to address a topic today that comes really back extremely often. Obviously, this is the topic of time management, the topic that challenges absolutely everybody. You can be the brightest, the most intellectual person, the most logical person, whatever you want to be. This is something that is unfortunately catching up on everybody. It's a trap to many people. Time is definitely the most depressing, really, if you want to take it that way, topic of life, because this is something that never can come back and is the most perishable item that we see and live with and are challenged by every day. So do not expect, please, this is my disclaimer, do not expect that this show and this 30 minutes, 25 minutes together are going to be the game changer for your life about how to manage time. And do not also expect me as a coach to give advice, because when you feel it is an advice, it is not. It's definitely the way I kind of reframe everything I hear or I learn from the coaching sessions that I'm privileged to have with my clients, really. And there are also mediation sessions in some cases. And here it's important that I bring the mediation part, because you know what? Time management is negotiation. It's definitely a negotiation with the worst type of partner you can negotiate with. And that partner, predictable, right, is you. It's ourselves. It's a negotiation with ourselves. So, first, in the housekeeping side of things for You Change the World, I would like to first welcome you on all the channels where we are, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, where in fact you can write your comments live, during the streaming. So it's a real time situation. And then I cannot reply to them, but I can certainly do it here uh, while I'm streaming. The third one is X Twitter. The fourth one is Instagram. There is a fifth one, and I don't know, for some reason. Oh, Facebook. Facebook. So these are the channels that we use for now in the social network space and the cyberspace. And the podcast is, the usual podcast channels where the recordings are uploaded for most of them, and where you're going to find them, and are on our YouTube channel. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I cannot miss this. I'm told every day that I need to remember every week when I meet with you to remind you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And finally, the website is www.coachingpath.com, P-A-T-H, coachingpath.com, or my name, andrepolicer.com. And also, I would invite you to click the tab Improv, because it's a new one. It's a new activity that I have added to the panel of activity. And that scope of activities really are offered to you individually and collectively to join us into this coaching journey. I have nothing else to say but that it's fascinating, it's life changing, and it's definitely a way to be to not be alone in all the challenges that you are facing, and have someone with a sounding board, trained, certified, trained, and also trained and by life experience as well. All those are the three criteria: right? The discipline of coaching, the competencies of coaching, especially dictated by the ICF, the International Coach Federation, and thirdly, the person himself. I have to inspire you to be my client, otherwise, because I think that every client needs a coach. Any person has needs a coach. I think at work, uh, at the moment you start having responsibilities, it's really from the moment you start working. But let's say a very much higher responsibility of a P&L, responsibility of a team, responsibility of your own accountability. All of those things are important, and you cannot be alone doing this. You need a coach. This is vital. And I've been fascinated all along since the 17 years I'm coaching professionally. And I was doing this not professionally before, because I was a leader, And I was having that as a style of leadership, which is today, I would say, call it the trendy leadership style, but it's definitely the prescribed leadership style. Because with all the generations from the Z to the millenniums and to above, all the generations are aligned today to receive coaching to grow, have a growth mindset and grow with the coaching. The coaching is definitely an opportunity. It's a space where you can express in freedom, in privacy, in confidentiality, your day-to-day challenges and take that coaching as your, I would say, your court, your field, your sports field, your athletic field, to challenge all the muscles, all the brain muscles, and all the brain and all the other muscles of leadership that you want to train, that you have, that are potentially there, but that you're not using. So the coach will identify with you the voids, the gaps, will define and define with you a plan, a program, and go with you into this journey as a partner. And I'm telling you about coaches, not only me, any coach that is professional out there, to just pick the coach that matches your the best your character, what you're looking for, that you feel comfortable with, that you can trust, like a psychotherapist, but it's not a psychotherapist. It's not a therapist. But the therapist, usually you pick the one that you trust the most. You're going to really share very intimate information with this therapist. The same applies to coaching, but it's just applied to the business, to the work environment where you are, or other aspects of life. All right. That's the thing I wanted to remind you because I'm bringing this team today purposely. It's deep, it's profound, it's definitely universal. We don't know. We are all clumsy about how to manage our time. Even you need some, you have a certain mastery of this, and you have also resources such as an assistant or a chief of staff or whoever, a team that you delegate to manage some aspects of your time. Nonetheless, if you are focused, which is the key, really, this is the key, and this is really the word I want to use the most into this first time talking about time management with you, is the notion of focus. And what is the question I ask? Each time a client will bring me this issue, automatically, and not because I read it in a book or there is a method or there is a format or a template, there is something about the proportion of time you give to different things and aspects of your life and how the day goes, the week goes, the month goes, or the year goes. And yes, we have our beautiful, I was looking for my very nice, where is it? Where is it? All right, see, this is my, and it's empty. It should be, in fact, full of pencil notes. But this is our weekly, diary, where we are holding our slots, and that's the oldest method. You do this with a pencil and an eraser. Why? The eraser? Because it's always changing. All right? We are all somehow a little bit ADD or ADHD. We are all over the place. We are multitasking. We have all kind of distractions on the way. We are not planning the unpredictable. We're not planning the disruptions and all the things that are going to delay or extend or make you miss something for what you plan to do. So now let's be smart about all of this. Focusing is number one. On what? On what do you focus? There's people who are focusing about showing and sincerely and effectively being available to anyone who needs this person. I mean, think of the OBGYN who is going to be 24/7 available to this pregnant future mother who's going to give birth. And he is responsible, or she is responsible, for this moment when things are going to have to be taken care of. And that person, of course, there will be all the different preliminary stages and all the consultations and examinations that are prior to the day of delivering this baby. But look, right? There is a clock ticking that is, in fact, the holiest, the most incredible clock the most miraculous clock that is the clock of growth of an embryo growing in a womb and becoming a baby, and then the mother giving birth. And then this doctor who is in charge of the patient will be there, hopefully. It's not always the case, or at least the team will be there, because there is no negotiation about this. When the time comes, when the mother loses her waters and she has to go to the hospital to deliver, then and for the rare cases to do this at home, the doctor will come and deliver this baby for the mother. And funny, I will tell you something that is really the first story I'm going to share, because I always promise I'm going to share stories, but this is a story that is universal, that will give you also a little bit of my irony, or my bitter sense of humor about this very problem about doctors in general. Is that doctors think that they know a lot of things, right? Doctors think that they master a lot of things. You can have decades of experience, thousands or tens of thousands of deliveries under your belt that you did successfully as a doctor. Still, you will have this habit to tell the mother or the father that this baby is going to be coming in exactly 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 15 past, or 35 minutes later. That's funny that the doctors have to say something about predicting when the baby is going to be coming to this world. And I think that in my case as a father, and it happened 4 times, you know, the doctor was wrong. And I was laughing. And I said, well, you really think that you're mastering everything, right? You think that you're controlling when this baby is going to come to this world. Well, I'm a God believer, so I think that obviously God is the one to decide when this baby is going to come to this world. And funny enough, of anything that a person who is trusting God is definitely sincere about, it's going to be about the birth of a baby. In other words, that it's not in the hands of the doctor, but really in the hands of destiny or of the divine to decide when this baby is going to come to the world. So that's an approach. It's one approach, and it's mine. But it's not this. You don't have to have that one. You can just say, who are you, doctor? Who are you to know exactly when this boy is coming or this girl is coming? Right. So what I'm trying to say here is it's an example, and a very good one, to humble ourselves about time. That first of all, you should not make such a big deal about it. It's important to get organized. It's important to be punctual. It's important to feel that time doesn't fly that fast and that we have some level of control over time. But I was starting with this anecdote, right? And this example of the medical field, especially this one, when a baby comes to the world, that we do not master much. And if it's your God believers, then you know who is managing, who is controlling. But if it's you not God believer and atheist, nevertheless, still, you're not in control of what's going to happen in a few minutes or what's going to happen in 10 hours. And yes, another factor of time that we just saw with our own eyes recently is this attempted assassinations of former President Trump. It's amazing that we were looking, all of us, millions of peoples around the globe, to a miracle, open miracle. Well, I mean, really an open miracle. We can't deny that it was an open miracle. How come that this man, decided by the fraction of a second to turn his head, and that bullet did not hit his head and kill him on the spot, right? There was a fraction of a second. So I could not bring this example when I'm bringing in coaching, this aspect of managing time. Nobody could manage this a fraction of a second. But what, of course, bothers me now is all kind of question marks and things that are going to remain confined, that will hide the truth, and we'll never know really what happened, right? It's exactly the same with President Kennedy when he was killed. To this day, there is no certainty about what happened exactly. Was there someone closer that also shot the president, or was it this Oswald who was there up, in very far in this building, and being really targeting the president and shooting him? Who was really, in fact, shooting President Kennedy? Can you imagine? right? But that's another topic for another day. It's about truth. It's about you know, what I call propaganda, but it is propaganda. When every politic is going to take over, and when politics takes over, I wrote a posting today in LinkedIn about this because I can't retain my anxiety about this. Is what probably is one of my highest anxiety is how much untruth and how much confinement we have around us, and how much they try, all of them try to capture, kidnap our brain and our subconscious to believe things that are not true. So, so now going back to the factor. The time factor of what we control is very little. We do not control much of our time. All we can do, and this once you really adopt this concept, and I think that really today was the first of many other times when we're going to meet, and I'm going to talk about time management. And I hope I will shed some lights for you to think about it more philosophically in a way, or conceptually, so that from this concept you gain more and more a feeling of freedom about time, that time doesn't control you. And then maybe to some extent you'll have little bit control of this time, and you'll be sincere and honest and transparent to the world that you're not controlling every aspect of time. And yes, I'll cancel an appointment because I have an emergency. And yes, I will unfortunately be absent for a week or two because I have to take this urgent trip and now scramble everything on my schedule. Or yes, I'll have to tell my boss that I will not be available Thursday afternoon because my wife is giving birth, to stay with the same theme. In other words, you've got priorities in your life. So what do I say here? If I translate a little bit what I'm saying, if I reframe, like we do in coaching a lot, what I'm saying to you to make it simple and communicating, it's that number one, to take off your grasp on time, to say to yourself, and it's, I think, not an advice, it's a fact that we are not controlling our time so much. We can only try, and we can only do this to a certain proportion. The first question I asked my clients, I was saying a few minutes ago, but I did not finish my sentence, is how much of your time you feel is controlled externally by other authorities, by other factors, your boss, your organization. How much of your time is controlled that you are not feeling that you have the freedom, you have the leverage of really controlling? Because when you tell me a proportion, that you tell me, in fact, the first number you'll tell me in a percentage, in a ratio type of number, the first number you'll tell me is the one I'm going to trust the most. Because to this question, your instinctive or simultaneous, spontaneous answer is going to tell me really, in fact, something about the true fact that you're up against. That what we have to work, towards here. How can we define a clear and good objective of clarity so that we start grasping a little bit more that concept of time? And I will tell you that most of the people tell me, for those who are in a management position, in a frontline position, put it that way, because frontline means I am now part of a crew, of a team. I have to be here and punch my card at 9 a.m., 8 a.m., and I have to leave at 4 or 5 p.m. And this is when I am available to nothing else but just my job, my duty, and the customer or the patient that I'm facing. A nurse, a receptionist, a front desk person, all these crews in hospitality, in healthcare, in transportation, airlines, attendants, all of these people are crews. They are depending on each other. They have to go by a schedule, by something that takes 100% of their working time, almost. They're going to have a few minutes, maybe, or a few hours a week to debrief, to do some internal meetings, to go, or a week. That's what happens with pilots, especially, or attendants, is that they have a full week to do other things than being on board, of a plane with the passengers. So so this is what I'm trying to say. We are in a very interesting paradigm when we talk about the proportion of time that is controlled externally by another power. And averagely, I hear from my dear clients that they own, when they are managing or not in a crew type of thing, not the frontline position, that they are in fact uh, owning about 60% of their time. If this is the number, I'm happy to hear it, because that's a number we can work with. If they start telling me 40% reverse, or if they tell me 10%, and 90% of my time is controlled by my organization, my duties, by everybody else, well, then I'm more concerned. There is much less we can work on. But let's say that what we talk about in coaching and in here, for you to get organized, for you to have some kind of a feeling that you have a mastery of your time, and again, is to first take the wisdom of not taking it too seriously, of not expecting too much from this uh, time management, that you have to leave some room for the unpredictable. And I compare that very often also for another benchmark to money. Time is not money. Okay, we all agree on that. Time is not money. Money you can lose today, you can get it back tomorrow. Time, you lose it today, and you don't get it back. Sorry, it's very simple, very elementary what I'm saying, but let's make sure that we stop saying this very old saying about time is money, because it's not. And nothing to compare between time and money. I wish we could have time like money, but it's not the case. So time is the most perishable, the most valuable, the huge gift when you are healthy, when you have everything to function and to be all yourself and the best of yourself. That's when I want to really be responsible for this time. And responsible for this time is to first give you time. And it's first to be very, very indulgent, empathetic and self empathetic, for you to really slow down, cool down in terms of the pressure that you take when you have a very full schedule, or when the time is a very big challenge. It's for me a challenge, obviously, and it's for everybody a challenge. But it's about focusing on your priorities, and it's about focusing about that proportion of time that you, in fact, have responsibility for. So I will consider that someone who says to me 60% and has 40% dependent on factors that he doesn't really much, or she doesn't very much control, is a very reasonable amount. Okay, because it gives us a good number of hours a day. Once we have this leverage, this power, this freedom, and the responsibility, now conceptually, what do I do about it? I apply priorities. And the priorities are of two types. The priorities, and I'm again not saying anything that you don't know. I'm trying to just organize your way of thinking about this. To first cool down, secondly, to have an aspect of proportion, so that you know that at least for 40%, 30% of your time, it's not yours anymore, because someone is controlling it for you. And about the money, I was about to give you an example. When someone gives out, when someone, sorry, get a ticket, a traffic ticket, has to pay $150, which happens in Manhattan all the time. You can have all the best signs you want, you'll get this ticket no matter what. It's a very, very violent and unjust kind of environment, Manhattan. But this is an unexpected tax that you have to pay in the middle of the year at the worst moment. You don't have the cash flow to do it, and boom, it's falling on you. I'm saying about this money that you will be better off provisioning, making, putting 2,000, 3,000, $500 on the side when you can, and call it lost. You give up on it. It's a negotiation that is closed. It's no negotiable anymore. It's 500, 1,000, $3,000. And for those who are even wealthier and more in trouble than we are when we are average, or we're not very rich. This is about provisioning the money so that when you have to pay that tax, you have no feeling of losing anything. You already gave up on it, it's already there. So, this is another trick or a tip to put money on the side for those that money that you know is going to be happening in your ear and is always frustrating you. Excuse me, emotionally frustrating you. And I will tell you that time is the same. You're going to have to make available some hours a week or maybe some minutes a day that are going to be about being disrupted or having someone coming and in need of you anytime during the day, even when you're very busy or are focused in one thing. This is part of the minute, like the dollar that you have you have put in on the side and give up on. There will be no emotion. I consider this minute not lost. In the money, maybe because I have to pay a ticket, but the purpose of paying a ticket is to be out of trouble. I'm not going to have to go to court or go to jail. I'm going to pay this tax or this ticket, and the money is already there for it. I do not have any emotion about it. I knew that it would happen a few times, like it does every year, but this time I was wise about it and I put it on the side. It's already gone. Thank you. Bye. Buy the money and buy the time. If the time that I wanted to have for me, I have to give it to someone else or to another purpose, this is a part of the structure you need to have or the concept you need to think about, that it is not wasted, not lost. It is the provision time that you give to something else. And you do not emotionally feel bad when this time is taken. All right? I think I'm going to stop here because we have in fact finished already and used the time of this broadcast. But please, if it is a takeaway for you to think of this proportion of time that you are in control of, to feel that you are in control of, that is in fact in your territory, that where you have leverage, where you can make decisions about this time, don't think it's 100% of it. It's always less because there is some proportion of your time that is taken by things that are mandatory. I would even add in the mandatory part the time you spend, the quality time you want to spend with your children, with your wife, or with your partner. Absolutely, the quality time, the non negotiable time that you cannot use for your own. This is the first thing you need to categorize and leave out and non negotiable. Then after that, we do what we decide what we do with it. Because it can be a Monday afternoon, it can be a Sunday for the children, it can be a Saturday, whatever it is. This time is provision for a certain cause, for a certain purpose that is not dependent on me. All right. I think I leave you with those two and the concept of please provisioning so that you are considering the money or the time lost for some other cause, but you're not going to get upset about it. It's a disruption, it's an interruption, and it will not emotionally affect you because you're already prepared. You're already intentionally there that this time is going to be taken, as long as it stays within a certain limit. You put a boundary about limiting that time and that time frame. Thank you very much for being with me today. Hopefully, we'll get back to this maybe in a couple of weeks and we'll continue because there is a lot to add to make your life a little bit easier and to make also your mindset more prepared about the unpredictable and about all these things that come across to make you feel that time goes very fast or is very frustrating, that you could not control, or disappointment that you missed, or where you go, or disappointment you were coming late for. And that's giving you a wrong perception out there or a bad aspect of your brand. So see you soon. Thank you for being here. See you, in fact, next week. And thank you for being with me today.